Hello everyone. Today at Inner Leadership with Akhila Shastry, we have Ankita Day, who is the co-founder of the Utsav app. Before we start, I think I'll give a line or two-line description about her, and then I think she would be much better at telling about herself. So from what I gather about Ankita Day so far is she's very approachable, quite innovative in her thinking, very fast at ensuring that execution happens. And I think in the entire industry of faith, puja, religion, when you put that together, I think they have created quite the change. How are you feeling, Ankita, today?
Feeling great. Thank you so much, Akhila, for having me today. And from my, journey, I'm happy to share whatever insights I have gathered, right? The challenges that I have gone through. And I think if that is helpful to young founders, I'm more than happy to share.
Yes. So, Ankita, could you take us through your journey? Where are you from? Everything, right? And what eventually inspired you and your co-founders to start with the Utsav app?
Right. So I think I was born in a Bengali family, right? My mother is a housewife. My father has been into army, Indian Army. And that's why I have been traveling to multiple places, right? I've done my schooling from 4 states, right? So that's been pretty diverse, right? So I think the kind of inception in liking different culture, speaking to people from different areas and geography is something that I have been through in my childhood, and I know how to respect each other's community and culture and religion, right? So that came as a part of my upbringing. Born into very middle class family, right? Did my schooling, and then I think when in college I met my co-founders, from where this journey started. It was also something that we didn't think that it will become a big business someday, right? We just thought, that we'll solve one simple problem, which was that during COVID, we realized that everything was happening so much digital. But if you talk about our Indian culture, pujas, rituals, right, you'll probably see that there was not much that you could do online. Right. So we thought that why don't we have a platform where we could celebrate Durga Puja online? Right. That was the only point that we wanted to do. And this was in college while we were doing our engineering from IEM Kolkata, and we were a bunch of 4 5 students, right, who had a group, and we used to participate in different hackathons, right. Also, we started a small software firm from which we used to serve different clients, and deliver projects. That kind of helped us get that experience of how to build products, right? How is it's not just coding, but there's a lot more depth that needs to understand customer behavior, consumer insights, right? And those kind of started building, and that in COVID we first realized that we need an app where we could ourselves celebrate Durga Puja online, right? That was the only idea. There was no plan that it will become a big business, we'll raise funds, we'll monetize, and we'll do this and that. But it was just from that simple hope that while sitting at home, everybody is depressed. We being Bengalis, Durga Puja is so close to our heart. And we just felt that why don't we have build an app where we could have all these puja communities come on board, and we could experience some bit of puja online at least.
Uh, so, can you tell me the process of building the app? And from what I've read, I think you guys built it in within 30 days and you had onboarded your major Durga Puja pandals and all the other things. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So I think, during COVID, we were at home. We had a lot of free time, right? We were not able to step out. And this group of, college students who were working, we were around 6 to 7 people, out of which three of us are currently co-founders of Utsav. The
Right.
others chose a different path. Some took jobs, some, diverted. But that group, we were very passionate on building something, right? We, I think, built around 6 to 7 other projects where we served for different clients and all. And it was the, I think, the first wave, right? After the first wave, we realized that, we should have an app where we could get all these Durga Puja communities on board, and they could simply post, right? They could post about the pictures, the videos, the preparations of the puja, the rituals, right? And people could also participate in those online, right? People could
Right.
watch the aartis, people could donate to the communities and do these things, and that was all via the app. Initially we did not know how to reach out to these communities, right? So these puja pandals that are there, there's a lot of problem in terms of that we are young people, right? And most of these communities are led by people who are elderly, little aged, right? And it's very difficult to convince them that what are you going to do in an app for puja, right? And that was very difficult. We faced so much of rejections from the puja committees. They said no, we don't want to participate, right? We'll do whatever is in our rituals and has been happening so far. So those kind of hindrances came along, right? But वी वर लाइक यार हमको तो बस 5-6 कमिटी को कन्विंस करना है, रेस्ट विल फॉलो, राइट? 5 बड़े आप कमिटी को फॉलो करवा लो, राइट? दैट्स ऑल वी वांटेड टू डू. So we got in touch with a college friend of ours who was very passionate about celebrating and organizing different events and participating in these rituals. So we thought, let's talk to this person. His name is Shashwat Saha. He's still working with us today, right? He's a full-time team member, and he was the one whom we approached that you have to go and convince these committees somehow, right? He reached out to them. He reached out to some nearby communities offline. Rest, he reached out online. He called them up, asked them that this is an app, you have to just come and do this, and this is free of cost, right? There's nothing that you have to pay or something. We faced a lot of rejections, but I think in the process what we realized is that these puja committees, they don't have anything that they'll get out of this app, right? So what essentially that triggered is any user who is coming on the platform, be it on the supply side or on the demand side, they must have something which is really, really important for them that they get on that app. Only then that product is successful and people want to join, right? We are telling them that this is out of goodwill, but people are not interested in goodwill, right? They have a lot of other responsibilities, other things to do. So why will they just do it out of goodwill, right? So then we figured out one hack, which was that these committees participate in multiple competitions, right? Some say, for example, there's this competition being organized by different big brands, right? Like Asian Paints, Berger. What they do is they give awards to these communities based on some factors. Say, for example, the biggest idol of the year, right? Or the best decoration, or the best lighting, or who has done the most eco-friendly, pandal and the celebrations, right? So these awards are there, and this is generally a judge's choice award, right? Where big personalities, they'll come to your pandal, they'll see and they'll remark you, and accordingly there's a competition going on. We just thought to do it in a more sustainable and something that is accessible to everyone. So we initiated this program and this competition, which was called People's Choice Sharad Shamman, right? Which essentially means that it's a people's choice vote that people can come and give to the different committees who are participating in the app, and accordingly whoever wins the highest votes, they get awards from Team Utsav. That was a simple idea. And then Shashwat again went out and reached out to these committees saying that, we have got this competition now. So, top pandals are participating. And I think we were able to convince 3 to 4 committees. And the moment they started joining us, the entire problem of getting demand and supply was solved. How? I'll tell you. So these committees joined, right? They knew they have to get votes to win this competition. The app doesn't have a lot of users now. It's a newly launched app, right? What will they do? They reached out in their WhatsApp groups, in their Facebook groups, right? They shared it around their network and their societies, right? In the society groups, and they said that please vote for us. This is the award, and we want to win it. Anyway, there are less competitions happening in the COVID, right? And this is an online competition. It's easy to win. Let's do it. And now these suppliers, right? The pandal organizers in the app, they became a source of getting demand as well. They told their friends, families, groups, societies to come and vote, right? And the moment this started happening, the other puja committees also felt left out. They felt, yeah, we are missing out on this award, and this is a People's Choice Award. The committee who have the highest followers will get the highest votes, right? And this got viral. We got 25,000, I think 20 to 25,000 downloads in a week on Google Play Store with zero marketing cost. And this was all happening organic. The app was trending on Play Store, and that was the initial user success that we saw. And that was the first learning that how can you scale up a product, what sort of hacks and marketing can actually do to that. Yeah. So that was the initial success, and that's how the journey has been.
I think That must have been quite a surge. And how was your team reacting to that 25,000 downloads that came during that short period of time?
We realize we didn't realize that we were trending on Google Play Store, right? We realized it a week later when we saw यार Google ने मेल किया है कि आप लोग का ट्रेंडिंग पे था, right? Then we realized अच्छा ऐसा हो गया, right? We were busy fixing bugs, to be very honest. Like the entire team was tech team. मैं भी कोड ही करती थी that time, and I
Yeah.
realized that इतने लोग आ गए, ऐप में इतने बग्स लोगों ने पॉइंट आउट कर दिया कि ये वोट लोगों ने किया है बट नहीं आया है, देखो क्या प्रॉब्लम है, राइट? समबडी इज सेइंग कि आपका लाइक काम नहीं कर रहा है, आपका ये नहीं कर रहा है, एंड इट वाज अ न्यूली लॉन्च्ड ऐप बाय अ बंच ऑफ कॉलेज स्टूडेंट्स, सो बग्स वर मेंट टू कम, राइट? बड़े
Yeah.
बड़े कंपनियों में बग्स आते हैं, वी वर अ स्मॉल टीम एंड वी वर बिजी विद रिजॉल्विंग बग्स एट दैट पॉइंट, टू बी ऑनेस्ट वी कुडंट अंडरस्टैंड कि कहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है. Later on, there was a lot of analysis done later on to understand how big the market is and what all scope do we have. We got a lot of user feedbacks, and those actually help to shape the next journey for Utsav.
Got it. I mean that quite makes sense. And could you tell me about like what do you feel personally when spirituality and technology comes together? What was your personal journey through this time was?
I think first of all, I was scared that this is something that is a shift in the mindset of the people, right? This is something that would demand a lot of awareness, a lot of learning process for everybody to understand how this works, right? So even today, if you ask somebody what is an online puja, right, I'm sure you'll get different sort of explanations from different people. Somebody will
Right.
say पूजा शायद ऑनलाइन होता है, right? मतलब कि it means that the puja doesn't happen offline, right? Somebody will say this, but for me, right, from as a creator of this product, from me, what an online puja means is I'll tell you, but that is what we have to make the market aware and make people aware that this is what our online puja means. It is
Right.
not something that happens virtually. The puja happens exactly at a temple where it is supposed to happen, following all the rituals, all the processes by Panditji sitting there. The only thing is the process of booking that puja, the process of watching that puja has been digitized.
Right.
So
Right.
a devotee, he comes to the app, he books a puja, he writes his name, gotra, family details, right? And he makes a donation, the puja, a cost that is involved. And he opts for whether he wants a prasad or not at home, right? All those things. He can also mention his manokamna, which is his wish that he is offering for. And all those details are sent to the Panditji on the day of the puja, right? Now the Panditji is doing that puja at the temple, sitting right there. So the puja is completely offline and authentic in the way it happens. You just watch it virtually, right? Like we are connecting now. So that's the process on what I mean by an online puja. So now I think the first challenge that we faced was to make people understand what exactly we are doing. A lot of people would say शायद पूजा होता ही नहीं है, ऑनलाइन में कुछ होता है, right? But a lot of people would say maybe it's a digital gamification of a puja, right? कि आपको स्क्रीन में कुछ आरती होगा, something something, right? So there's a lot of doubts in people's mind to understand what this process and what is it exactly.
I think that could also be because there is this also another app called Tantra Sadhana. A couple of my friends also use. So over there, you can perform havans, but it is all virtual, right? So it's completely gamified. As in, you have your own avatar, you go around, you fetch things, you put all the samagris together and you perform the havan. However, what happens in that is the mantras and everything that is said by someone, and you are asked that you just need to focus on that. So could be because this is a new industry that is coming up, so still the entire process of fixing the technology aspect and how people view it is still quite different from one company to the other.
And then there are challenges on, how to convince the temples, how to convince the people, right? Specifically because they come from a very traditional mindset, right? So
Yes.
doing something online also raises questions on the authenticity of how the, devotee will experience, right? So that
Yes.
comes with a lot of questions. And then there's a lot of bureaucracy in the system, to convince a temple, to onboard a temple, right? To make them your partners, right? There's a lot of bureaucracy there. So a lot of things we realize gradually and we are solving one by one. I think that's the journey.
See, I just wanted to understand this. When you had pandals onboarded, I mean, that was one of the stints that happened which worked for you. But when you finally got temples onboarded, what difference do you see from the initial piloting that you did with temples to versus now?
That was a completely conscious decision, right? So we realized that puja committees and festivals are very good hacks to gain users and to, build engagement in the app. But
Hmm.
to be honest, there's hardly any way you can monetize them, right?
Right.
For us to be a sustainable business, right, which we thought, I think, 1 year down the line, right, in the year
Hmm.
2021, end of November, December, that
Hmm.
point of time, we started figuring out, that what are we exactly going to do? How are we
Hmm.
exactly going to make money if we take this business, if we take this project into a business?
Right.
And we realized that people in India are very happy with engagement and views and likes and comments, but nobody's going to pay for it, right? um
Yes.
so if you look at, say, digital gifting or supporting creators, it's a very very difficult economy to build, right?
Right.
There's a lot of money that needs to be pumped in, first of all, to build that engagement, right? If your platform doesn't have millions and millions of monthly active and daily active users, nobody is going to, come and say that, I'll pay for the views or I'll pay, So today, if you see Facebook, Instagram, they have, billions of active users, and that's why they are able to monetize from advertisers, right?
Right.
So thinking of content as a source of money from Indian consumers is very, very difficult, which is what I feel. And specifically when there are established players, who have done brilliant, say for example, YouTube, right, Instagram, Facebook, they have done so much and they are so ahead of what we are doing currently that it's very difficult to monetize, in that similar model. So what comes to picture is, how are we going to monetize was the question, right? And we figured out the answer, that in India, people are happy to pay for religious activities, right? There were a couple of apps as well who were trying to do something in religion and spirituality, but the only problem that they faced was they were not able to monetize, right? They couldn't generate revenue, right? There was a lot of engagement, there was a lot of stickiness in the product, retention, वगैरह एकदम bindas. But if you look at the kind of revenue they are looking to make, they couldn't. And we realized it very early in our journey, right? कि हमने ये कर लिया. This was not intended to, you know, go ahead with a business. This was a hobby project and we did it because we wanted to. But अगर इसको sustainable रखना है, अगर इसको long time में चलाना है, then we have to figure out what will be our source of monetization, right? Otherwise, it's not going to sustain. We raised a couple of rounds of investments, but we also realized that investor के पैसे से engagement बना के there's no point, because end of the day, if your customer doesn't pay you, then आप कितने भी investment का पैसा उठा लो, it's not going to sustain, right? वो burn ही हो जाएगा,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
So what we figured out is कि इस market में people are more than happy to pay, not in hundreds but in thousands of rupees, given that you give them authentic service, given that you give them something that they are aspiring for. Say for example, अगर मैं आपको बोलूँ कि आपका पूजा वैष्णो माता में हो जाएगा, आपको उसका वीडियो मिल जाएगा, आपको वहां से प्रसाद मिल जाएगा, right? People are happy to pay. People will say आप 2,500 का मेरा पूजा चढ़ा दो, right? If you're authentic. And if you look at this, in traditionally भी ये होते आ रहा है. It has been happening, right? Whenever your
Yes.
relatives are going to a pilgrimage, other family members would say, you please offer it on my behalf and get prasad for me as well, right? So the behavior in users was always there. The only gap was that there was no trusted partner who could get this done every time they wanted to, right? If they found a scope, they are more than happy to pay, thousands of rupees. And realizing that was the game changer that we started monetizing, right? I think we were the earliest players who started with this model, and then today there are a lot of competitors who are doing similar sort of thing, who have raised much more money than us. But I think the idea that this is something that is monetizable was something that we did like one of the early players in the market, and that is what has given us the scale and the volume and the margins that we get.
I mean, when I think about it, like, I think about a week back or so, my parents and we went to Kukke Subramanya. It's the main place for
Correct.
Lord Kartike. And over there, it did happen. My cousin, she gave money to my mom, and other relatives gave money. And the entire process of standing in the queue, taking the, all the puja ka money you have to pay and everything, it takes quite a lot of time. But this actually helps, especially people who are from the middle class range, who have been grown up with the mindset that you have to wait for everything. It removes them a lot of blockers.
Today, what we see is, maybe these pilgrimages people do once in their lifetime, right? कितने लोग
Right,
कितने बार काशी जा पाते हैं? एक बार जाते हैं सब जिंदगी में,
right.
right? दूसरी बार हो जाए तो उनको लगता है यार मोक्ष की प्राप्ति तो यहीं हो जाएगी. But
हाँ,
but when we see, right? So we got asked this question a lot of times कि will people offer this pujas again and again? And we see people doing it more than we expected, right? Earlier, I
yes.
think in the initial days, we saw people repeating like 3 to 4 times a year. Today we see people are repeating monthly, right? हर महीने उनको पूजा देना है, given that you are doing it in the right way and they are happy with the experience. They want to do today, they want to do in Kashi, tomorrow they want to do in Ujjain, third day they want to do in Haridwar, fourth day they want to do in Rameshwaram. उनको हर जगह पूजा करवाना है, given that you are giving the right experience, right? So pilgrimage and these things happen once in lifetime, but when you ask how much does it happen online, I would say it's much more because now it's accessible, right? उनका जन्मदिन है, it's a favorite, तिथि, it's a festival, it's some problems that they are going through and they want a resolution for it and they know that this temple is known for it, they will offer it again and again, and that has been happening.
How do you see the next generation taking the entire aspect of devotion, especially Gen Z and Gen Alpha? Do you think they will practice devotions differently? And how do you think Utsav should prepare for that shift?
I think we are already observing that shift, right? Earlier,
Okay.
we were looking at our data and we saw that most of the purchasers who are coming on the platform are 30 plus age group.
Mm-hmm.
Today, when we see, early 20s, right? 18 plus people are offering pujas, right? And we talk to them, we try to understand that what are they offering it for, why are they doing this puja, and we see some are doing it for their parents, some are doing it, for their problems in their life. They're not able to build their career and they feel that, they have some dosh in their kundli and they want a resolution for that, right? So for example, if somebody has a kal sarpa dosh, the best way to get resolution from that is offering a puja at Triambakeshwar, right? And they can't visit Triambakeshwar right away, they want to do it online, right? So we see those kind of things happening, and very, I think Gen Z's and Gen Alphas, if you say, the least, the experience that I have had conversations with them, I feel they are much more religious and they kind of have that clarity, that if I am a believer, what do I believe in? If I am not a believer, I respect that you are a believer, right? जो शायद हमारे पहले generations में नहीं था, right? Which was not there. But if you see today's generation, maybe because they're watching so much of web series and different kind of content, that they are aware, right? That this is what I believe, whether I am a believer in God or I am not a believer, I'm an atheist, right? वो सब clarity उनमें बहुत early से है, right? And they will never say that that I am an atheist and I don't believe in God, right? They'll say abhi shayad main nahi karta hu, but I don't know what happens next, right? So that scope that they keep for themselves, that in future I might change, in future things might be different, right? They respect that and they respect others people's beliefs as well. So I think that is much more mature as a generation that I see from the Gen Z's.
I mean, from one generation to the other, the way I see it is just after the partition, we were in a survival mode for at least
Correct.
the next two
Correct.
generations. And somewhere we felt that we had to, like, ourselves self-sabotage our beliefs and everything. And right now we are at a place where we feel proud about our own beliefs, our religion, and so on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Today we see so many Western brands, taking an inspiration from Indian products and Indian lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
Today, I think I was seeing that Prada launched a shoe which is the Kolhapuri chappal, right?
Yes. Yes.
And then I see that जो हम लोग की मम्मियाँ बोलती थी कि ये जूट का बैग यूज करो, जूट का ये चटाई यूज करो, right? And we
Yeah.
used to see that we used to feel कि यार ये इतना कम stylish है, this looks so पुराना, right? That's now it's eco-friendly. Now it's the new point term and people are using it with pride. So I think
Yeah.
those changes are coming in and people respect and they aspire to have those rooted sort of lifestyle now.
Yep. Um, How do you see Utsav taking forward cultural practices that could have been forgotten? Say, for example, in certain areas, like when we talk about hilly regions or in Mangalore and all, there is Bhuta Kola and other kind of practices, right? Say, for example, in the movie Kantara, it was shown, right? Now, these may not be exactly temple rituals or pujas, but they are still part of our cultural habits. Do you think Utsav can make some kind of impact here, or how do you see Utsav evolving more?
I think I recently heard about these two stories from two villages, right? So we were doing puja at this temple called Rahu Pethani Temple and Shani Shingnapur Temple, right? Rahu Pethani is in Uttarakhand. It's in a remote village area. I think the village doesn't have doesn't have more than thousands of villagers living there. It's a small village, but it's known for that temple, which is the Rahu Pethani Temple. Right?
Okay.
Similar for Shani Shingnapur, it's a small village, but the traffic inflow and outflow is
Yes.
mainly because of the temple there, right, which is the
Yes.
Shanidev ka biggest temple in the world. Now,
Right.
we I think there are say 2 to 3 players who are doing pujas there, right? Apps, different apps like us, and we heard this from one of the members of the panchayat at Rahu Petani that ये online puja होने के बाद there's so much of revenue coming into the temple that it is impacting the lives of the villagers. अभी they don't want this online puja to stop at all, right? For whatever reasons. क्योंकि अभी वहां पे हर महीने लाख लाख रुपए जाता है, राइट, फ्रॉम डिफरेंट एप्स एंड फ्रॉम डिफरेंट सोर्सेज, एंड क्योंकि छोटी गांव है, सो लैक्स ऑफ रुपीज फ्लोइंग इन ऑन अ डेली बेसिस is a lot of impact, right? And they don't want
Yes.
that revenue to go away. We heard this from the panchayats there only, that वहां पे जो है सब जो जो लोग अभी वीडियो बना रहे हैं, दे आर गेटिंग एम्प्लॉयमेंट, राइट, बिकॉज अभी डेली का वीडियो निकल रहा है, राइट, पीपल आर वॉचिंग इट लाइव स्ट्रीम. प्रसाद पैकिंग के लिए लोग चाहिए, हमें प्रसाद डिलीवरी के लिए पीपल आर देयर, राइट, देन देर आर पीपल हु आर ऑपरेट मैनेजिंग द ऑपरेशंस, राइट. तो एम्प्लॉयमेंट बड़ा है वहां पे, देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ मनी फ्लोइंग इन टू द विलेज, एंड द विलेज इज नाउ काफी ऐसे लोगों को भी अभी इस टेम्पल के बारे में पता है जिनको पहले पता नहीं था, right? So that marketing that we do on social media is also impacting, they are themselves saying कि अभी मंदिर में जो 4 साल पहले जितने लोग आते थे उससे 10 गुना लोग ज्यादा आता है, right? So those kind of insights, they kind of make me feel so proud कि यार ऐसा तो सोचा ही नहीं था, हमने सोचा ही नहीं था कि ये ऐसा इम्पैक्ट आ जाएगा कि एक गांव है, गांव वालों का लोग, their lifestyle will be changed and there will be so much revenue from us being a aggregator platform. So I think those stories actually feel so touched, and I feel that यार ये सच्ची में impact ही है.
That also gives them that renewed confidence, not just from a morale point of view, but also from the money point of view,
Absolutely.
to really deepen their cultural practices more, and they will be more proud about showing it out to other
100%.
people.
100%.
Yeah. Do you think India can export, say, for example, we not to really say export, but technically yoga is exported, right? In different forms and ways. What do you think about puja practices, festivals, rituals, or even spiritual wisdom for that matter?
Good if it's exported. I think it's more awareness, it's more people knowing about it, right? And the way yoga has been, marketed all around the world, right?
Yeah.
Abhi to it's, if you don't do yoga, people will look down upon कि yoga नहीं आता
Yes.
आपको, right? So I feel that it's good that, with time, if you look, अभी जिस तरह से हमारे कल्चर और रिचुअल्स को एक्सेप्ट किया जा रहा है, आई थिंक it's brilliant to observe, and I want that it goes throughout the world as well. I recently visited Varanasi, right, Kashi, and I met so many foreigners. 1 साल पहले मैं गोवा गई थी, मुझे गोवा में भी इतने विदेशी नहीं दिखे जितने मुझे काशी में दिखे हैं. Like that's the fact. That's what I observed. And when I spoke to them, when I tried to understand ki, why did you come, how did you get to know about this place, they're like, this was their dream to come. This Kashi is the place where they wanted to be, they wanted to spend time, right? They wanted to experience the ghats and everything, they wanted to visit those temples which are thousands and years of old, and those temples are actually mentioned in our scriptures, right, in our Vedas. So they wanted to experience that, and that's why they were here. There were so many elderly women who are staying there. They left their homes and they have left their kids, and they are like कि मुझे तो अभी यहीं पे मरना है, right? I want to die here in Kashi. So I met so many people, and I really felt that things are changing for sure.
I also want to understand that when it comes to you being a co-founder, right, especially in a faith tech company, uh, what hurdles did you face as a woman? And were there any hurdles, first of all? And what did you face and how did you overcome that?
I think as a founder, whether you're a girl or a boy, I think everybody faces challenges for sure, right? कुछ scratch से बनाना is not easy. लोग कहते
Yes.
हैं, right, कि there's a lot of fun, there's a lot of excitement, but at the same time there are a lot of downfalls, and there are a lot of times when you need those guts to come back again and be there, right? So I think it's challenging for both men and women. But as a woman, I feel there are definitely a little more challenges, right, in terms of, say, when you are talking to people, or when you are a first time founder, right? You are going to talking to investors or talking to clients or temples, right? There's some sort of rejection for sure that you face at the initial days. For one funny story, right, that I can recall, was when we had our first investor meeting, right? And I was in college in Calcutta, and I told my parents, I was in third year of engineering, right? So I had one more year to graduate, and we spoke to a lot of VCs online, and we got a call from 100x VC from Bombay, right? So they said कि आपका पहला मीटिंग है, आप ऑफलाइन आ जाओ. We liked your initial pitch, right? ऑनलाइन में आपकी मीटिंग्स अच्छे रहे हैं, ऑफलाइन आओ. If the things work out, we'll go ahead. We said, okay, wow, that's a brilliant call, right? We are invited to a VC's office, and maybe we'll get funded. Being in third year of engineering, right? Probably we don't need to take our jobs. Um, that was a good news. So I told my parents कि ऐसा ऐसा है. My parents are like, ये कौन है जो तुम्हें बोल रहा है कि इन्वेस्टमेंट देगा? Who is this, right? Whether this is fraud or what, I don't know. अब तुम कह रहे हो कि now, before this, coming from middle class background, I have never been from Calcutta to Bombay, alone, right? I have been to nearby places with friends, on some vacation maybe, but not to Bombay, or out of, say, eastern part of India. Now I said कि मुझे जाना है, and that too with these two guys who are my co-founders, right? तो my mom is, no, this is not happening, right? कि आप ये दो लड़कों के साथ अभी बॉम्बे जाओगे, क्या है पता नहीं, कौन आपको पैसे देगा, for what, right? So they can't believe. So I said कि देखो, so my parents are very supportive, right? For sure. आज भी they support me, as much as they could. So I told, see, I got this opportunity, I really want to go, right? मम्मी को बोला कि मम्मी जाने दो, ऐसा मत करो, पापा को समझाओ, right? मुझे जाना है. तो मम्मा सेड, श्योर आप जाओ, बट आप पापा को लेके जाओ, ठीक है? So I bet you not, in the first meeting at 100x's office, me, my two co-founders, and my dad, we went, right? The four of us. And we
Wow,
cracked the
okay.
deal, we got funded, and we have this picture together in Bombay for the first investment meeting, where I went as a woman with two other men co-founders and with my dad, right? So I think those challenges are there. My co-founders are like, क्या है, पापा आ गए investor meeting में, what is this, right? And I'm like, give some time, right? It's new for them as well, right?
Right.
They will support me, right? I don't have any doubts, but it's just that they are not, you know from our generation. They don't understand the things, how they are happening. They don't understand how online things work, right? So there is a lot of challenges, and their generation is different, their upbringing is different, their parents were different, so they don't know, अभी न्यू जनरेशन पेरेंट्स को कैसे सपोर्ट करना चाहिए, राइट? सो दे डू देयर बेस्ट एज दे कुड, बट गिव देम सम टाइम टू रियलाइज, राइट? सो उसके बाद से सेकंड मीटिंग में दे गॉट द कॉन्फिडेंस, एंड उसके बाद उन्हें कोई टेंशन नहीं है, राइट? टुडे दे आर इन कैलकाटा, आई एम इन बैंगलोर. It's been 2 years plus. They are happy. There's nothing that they are worried about. But वो जो पहला confidence है, वो उनको भी time लगना है ना, to understand. So that's what I told my co-founders, and they were like, second meeting में ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. I said, you will observe, मेरे मम्मी पापा खुद ही नहीं आएंगे, right? But for the first time, you don't challenge them, or I don't want to make them upset, or I don't want to fight at home and come to this, right? Then I personally feel कि without your parents' blessings, you can't do something very good, right? मैं झगड़ा करके आऊंगी, नहीं होगा, deal cancel हो जाएगा, right? That's my belief. So I think that's how it happened. So those are some of the challenges that I faced. I think there are plenty more, but I think it's just figuring them out.
What was your father's reaction after you guys cracked the deal?
My dad was very happy, right? He said कि तुम लोगों ने पहले मीटिंग में जाके 25 लाख का फंड उठा लिया, हमें सालों लग गए 25 लाख इकट्ठा करने में, right? It took the entire life for us. Then I also told them कि देखो ये I was also equally happy, but I knew that this money is for the business, right? And business में I'm not sure ये पैसा कितना दिन लास्ट करेगा, कितना रनवे है, नेक्स्ट फंड रेज करना होगा, क्या करना होगा. So those were there, but I think they were very very happy. They were very, even today they are so happy. They'll brag about what their daughter is doing and this and that with their family members and relatives. But I think, yeah, that's
I think in that way, not only are you the independent boss lady for them, but you are also taking the traditions forward. So that's like
yes.
a added bonus to
Correct,
it.
correct, absolutely. So they are like कि आप rituals को promote कर रहे हो, it's a good thing, please keep doing, right? So they are also happy about that.
Right. Could you tell me any time while building Utsav or even currently, right? There have been times when you had to say no to something.
I think there are a lot of things which we have to say no. And if we are saying yes to everything, nothing is going to happen, right? आपको कुछ चीजें yes बोलनी है, कुछ no करनी है, right? And then only things will work out. um in terms of no, so we realized that these temple collaborations are not very easy, right? It took us a lot of learning, a lot of journey to understand, a lot of experiences. We realized that at times it's better to say no to a collaboration or a partnership, right? If you feel that there are things which might turn problematic at the end, right? At times you might feel that this collaboration might not fetch into something good, even if it looks very very exciting in the beginning, right? So those no's are very important, right? Figuring out the right team members, right? There were times, at times we felt कि यार हमारे साथ ये इतने सालों से काम कर रहा है, and today should we let him go? And saying no to that person, although he has served for a lot of long time, but you realize that there are problems which you can't solve, right? Then you have to say goodbyes, right? And I think that's a part of the journey. And we, although most of the team is retained, right? It's been 4 years now, and we still have our core team, very very neat, and that exact team from the college, right, who work day in day out. But yeah, there are decisions which we have to take in terms of collaborations, in terms of business level decisions, team building decisions, where we have to say no. And I think it has to just come with the transparency and the problems that we are catering to, right? And if we can solve them, we solve them. If we cannot solve them, then we say it's a no.
I mean, I think this is very important for a lot of, especially the young 20s people to learn because people get into the habit of people pleasing a lot or they try to accommodate, but in the process of accommodating everyone, the main goal gets lost.
Correct.
So that's where, especially while building a business, I think it's very important to know exactly on what are the aspects you have to say no to.
Absolutely.
Yeah. In your personal journey while building Utsav, do you see a change in yourself? It could be how you pray, celebrate, or how you experience the entire aspect of tradition.
I think for sure, right? I was much, I'm now much more mature than I was, 4 years back. It's been through the journeys, it's been through, different experiences that we have gone through. Today I feel that, I respect people's space. I respect, initially it was more about passion and, we thought कि यार करना ही है, सब कुछ आज ही कर देना है, right? Everything we want to do today. Not sleeping, sleepless nights, right? But at some point that's not sustainable for a longer period of time. 2 दिन 4 दिन का प्रोजेक्ट है, you pull all nighters is good enough. वो पहले पहले हम लोग बहुत करते थे, right? But gradually when we understood that it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, and you have to keep running, right? Then you need those breaks, right? You need a better lifestyle, you need to have good food, you need to have your sleep, right? Otherwise you can't sustain, right? And the moment a founder is not giving their 100%, the entire team and the team with us also feels the same. So I think those has been some of the learnings. Then there has been downfalls where we felt things might break. It might happen that the team will leave, right? We were not able to raise funds for a long period of time in between, and we had to pull all our levers and all our budgets ki kitna ekdam penny penny ka hisab hame chahiye, right? So those were the days, and at that point of time I think it's your team, right? Team को मैंने बोला कि यार अगले महीने का salary I'm not sure if I'll be able to give you, and I told that it's your choice, you want to continue or you don't want to continue. And I tell you, nobody left the company, right? Despite realizing कि अगले महीने का salary आएगा नहीं आएगा, I just told them that we are trying our best to get the funds right in the bank this month, but if it delays for whatever reasons, right, it might be possible कि next एक दो महीने का salary हम ना दे पाए, right? And now I personally cannot take responsibility. I understand that the employees have their family responsibilities in place. I told them कि it's your choice, and nobody left the company, right? एक हम wait किए कि पैसा आएगा and then we'll pay them, and that actually helped. So I think those are the points when you realize that how good a team you have, and I'm grateful for that, right? How your life's balance and good health actually matters, right? Long time ke race ke liye there are some different things that you have to keep in mind. There were things which happened which went south, right? And we were not ready for it, right? Business almost pura scale down kar diya tha, and there were a lot of issues happening. And despite that, when I was super down, I was not feeling like talking to the team or understanding anything, right? I was just feeling कि पता नहीं company बंद करनी पड़े, क्या करना है, right? At that point of time, the core team members, they came and told, यार अंकिता तू टेंशन क्यों ले रही है, हम है ना, we'll figure out, right? Those kind of things actually boost confidence, and times when they say they feel कि यार नहीं हो रहा है, then maybe I am the one who is pulling them up, right? So I think it's the bond and it's the kind of thing that happens in the team, right? And that really really matters at point where it's a game changer, right? It's a yes or a no, and those decisions actually help out. So I think those were some of the understandings and learnings that we understood.
I think also every business, right, when it's growing, say from a blue chip to eventually becoming a settled company, everybody would want to work, irrespective of how the culture is or whether there are opportunities apart from the company or not, because you get a whole lot of opportunities, money, you have a growth in your CV and everything. But especially when the business is going down and you may not be able to pay the next month's salary, the main aspect that makes a person stick is because they like their work or they like the culture of the company. So I think that speaks a lot about Utsav, especially the fact that, if you're not able to pay the next month's salary when people have so much of responsibilities, that is really great, because every business will have its ups and downs that is there, right? Everyone's going to stay there when it's an up, but not a lot of people are going to stay when there's a down. um Ankita, I wanted to understand from you, maybe say after another 40, 50 years, what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind?
40 years is really long. I don't know, right? लोग
What
5
do
साल
you
का
think
पूछते हैं, उसमें मैं
now?
confuse हो जाती हूँ. If people say, well, how do you see yourself 5 years down the line, then also I'm confused. You're asking about 40, 50 years. I think that's a long, long period. But what I feel is that there's a lot that can happen in religion, right? There's a lot that can happen in religion cross tech. There are a lot of avenues. The market is huge, right? It's not for one or two player market. There are a lot of players who can come and make billion-dollar businesses. There are different directions, right? Some is into merchandise, which some companies are doing. Some are into online pujas that we are doing, right? There's a lot of scope for evolution here as well. So I personally feel that it's a huge market. India as a population, as a country is growing, right? Um, Western world is accepting rituals and culture of India, like yoga happened. Um, the kind of aspirations and kind of problems that people go through, right? I think everybody goes through that one point, some, say every couple of years, that you feel broken and you don't know what's the next step is, right? It can be in terms of your career, it can be in terms of your relationships, it can be in terms of your family life, right? Your close ones, their health issues, right? And those problems, when you have figured out every solution and you are still hopeless, I think then it matters, all it matters is your hope and your faith, right? And people every couple of years go through some or the other struggle, and they reach out to God, or to pujas at some point. And so those are the cases, or say, the model in which we can build the business is really really scalable, is really big, the market is huge, people are really interested, and people are evolving to accept more and more digital products, right, digital ways of life. So I feel that दो तीन अच्छे अच्छे businesses बन सकते हैं, right, not just one. Yeah, and I think to carry on, say it, any big business, you need generations to actually get invested, right? Tata's, Ambani's, कोई भी एक generation आके नहीं कमाल कर सकता है. So if things work out, we'll definitely go there. But अभी के लिए I think it's very early for me to say कि 40-50 साल बाद क्या होगा.
I hope you have some kind of answer, or can look at this video from nostalgic point of view, maybe 30, 40 years down the lane, and you'll have
Sure,
a different
sure.
perspective for it.
Absolutely.
Okay, tell me this last question because I was quite curious about it. What kind of meaning will people derive from Utsav apart from the technological aspects of it?
I think it is mostly feeling closer to their roots and culture, right? Maybe you are sitting away from your family and your favorite temples or the pilgrimages that you have done, and you want to feel that essence again and again, right? You want that blessings again and again. I think that is where Utsav comes in. So Utsav becomes a day-to-day aspect in your life where you want to do anything related to faith and spirituality and religion, right? अगर आप घर पे भी पूजा करते हो, you recall उत्सव. अगर आप मंदिरों में पूजा कराने चाहते हो, you recall उत्सव. You want to know something, you are curious to know what happened at some phase in Ramayana, right? You have utsav.
Right.
So anything religion, anything spirituality you talk about, utsav becomes your go-to platform, right? Say for example, today you need food, right? क्या खाने का मन है? You open Zomato, Swiggy, right? So anything religion, anything cultural, anything festivals, rituals, problem centric pujas, right? Day to day घर पे पूजा करना है, उसके कुछ आप बारे में जानना है. I think that's what we want to become.
Thank you so much for your time, Ankita. I found it quite interesting in the way of how spirituality and tech can intertwine with each other, such that it would help each of us uh, feel much closer to God at fingertips. So I think that is something I look forward to. I even spoke about this with my parents. They were more excited about this. So yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Akhila.